All right. Mon ami, my friends, my fellow thought criminals, enemies of the state, thank you for joining us. I was going to upload this show via phone camera or whatever because people have been watching that, but uh, my phone kept dying. I know. It's a it's an Elon Musk phone. Keeps dying all the time. But anyway, so we've been covering, if you guys have been paying attention or checking out our channel, we have been covering the Alex Jones trial, and I just had the last day or two on my schedule. I watched it. I had to go work. I wasn't able to report, but we did 1 and 2 video reports on our channel. And so what I'd like to do, since we're live right now, is let's go ahead and take questions on it. So day 3 and 4, crazy, really crazy. And what you would notice, and I know we can't look at the world through our biased eyes, through dirty glasses, as they said in the Alex Jones trial. You know, he had dirty glasses. He got taken in by Wolfgang Halbig and Jim Fetzer. They took him in. Like, that's not the guy I knew. So I don't believe that. But let's say he did. I mean, you guys were all there too. We didn't get taken in. And then they just, once they found out, this came out all in the trial. If you watch it the last few days, what came out was they knew it. And guys like Paul Joseph Watson and whatever were writing Alex Jones in the channel. Lenny Posner was writing Alex Jones, hey, this isn't true. We can prove it. And they just wouldn't listen. And they never tried to interview anyone on the other side. I hate that. If you're writing a book or you're doing a movie or a radio show, I always called the guy on the other side. Always did that. Like, I'm going to try to, I mean, you know, that was the fun for us back in the day. I remember Chris Bolin, one of the guys that used to work at American Free Press back in the day. And I remember him saying this, and it really hit home. And I grew up in journalism the hard way. So, you know, man, that's the fun of being a journalist, is getting to, you have an excuse to go call the victims, the this, that. You can do all that, right? You can call people and do investigative reporting. That's the fun part. But they wouldn't do it. Just hustle. And this is what the trial looks like. I know that's part of the story, not all of it, but they're just hustling supplements or whatever, snake oil. You know, they didn't care. They didn't care about anyone. It's just sloppy journalism. I mean, just give me that, right? It's sloppy, super sloppy journalism is what I think. So I want to know, I can look at your chats if you guys chat in. And I'm just talking about the Alex Jones trial. I got Rocket from the Crypt playing in the background. We're going to get banned for that. I know. It's a copyright strike. You know, and I forced myself at first, like, I'm going to watch the trial. I'm like, oh man, this is going to hurt me because I'm there. I was deposed in the trial. Like, I'm involved. I know a lot of the people. I talk to some of the Sandy Hook people on a daily basis. Just, man, this is going to be hard for me to watch this. And once it started going, you know, it's like, okay, I'm there. And I tried to tell those people. And so did all these other guys working in the company of Alex Jones Incorporated. They try to tell them, like, don't do this. This is stupid. And they made $1 million or two off of it, but now they're paying, you know, $100 million. It's just dumb. And you're going to hurt people. It's not worth it. See, when I remember when we covered 9/11 or we covered Oklahoma City bombing or all the different things we covered, we did it to help the victims' families, not hurt them. You have to know you flipped 180 on that. All right, S90. Today, Jones claimed he lost Endgame 2 in its entirety. He lost, the archives of that, his film. Humpty Dumpty. And thank you guys can't see this. I'm looking with my glasses right now. Humpty Dumpty and all his minions couldn't put it back together, but they turned on each other. S90's commenting right now live. We're live here on this talking about the Alex Jones show. They turned on each other. If you see their depositions, come on, man. I was nicer to Alex Jones than his own employees were. They all turned on each other. Rob Dew, Biondi, who would hire that guy, first of all? Come on. You just look at some of the people they hired. I did if you looked at Alex Jones trial coverage part 2, which I did on video. The Russian girl, I know that was the same Russian girl that was honeypotting us in New York, and she used to live in New York. I think it's the same girl. Who would hire Dan Biondi to go out and represent your network? That's crazy. But so when you look at his test, watch that. That's day 4. S90. That's day 4, and Dan Biondi is like, they all turned on me. We were all selling each other out. It's actually pretty cool to watch him say that, and I knew that, and that's always happened there. So, yeah, he lost Endgame 2.0. I mean, that's online. I don't know how you can lose it. And then this is the weird thing. I want to go down with all your comments here. We're live. It's the Jack Blood stream, and I'm just covering this Alex Jones trial. I'll talk about anything else you guys want to, like, because I'm live right now, so let's just do it. But man, it's just hubris. All right. I was going to say something else. I am live, so it's hard. Convenient that it had scenes from within the Council for National Policy. Yeah, the CNP. Remember when people used to talk about that? S90, the CNP? And, dude, this is the thing. All the people that Alex used to have as guests, and I realized this real quick, were CNP people. And that's not to just say anyone that's part of the CNP, because I think G. Edward Griffin, there were some like good guys in that too. That's not to say because you belong to some national organization or whatever that that you're bad. But most of them were. And they were, some of them, Dick Cheney fans. God. Like, I'm really thinking about having on this main guy that got in all kinds. I'm not going to mention his name, but he got in all kinds of trouble in the Trump era, got subpoenaed and sentenced. And his PR company is my PR company, and they just offered me the interview. I can't mention his name, but you guys probably know who I'm talking about. He's a CNP member and not one of the good ones. And I asked him one day just to delineate, what's going on with CNP, the Council for National Policy, if you're following along. And it probably doesn't make sense because I'm not telling you his name, because I'm going to save that. What do you think of Dick Cheney? Loved Dick Cheney. Loved him. Okay, you said it in the chat. It is Corsi. S90 is way ahead of us. Yes, Jerry Corsi, Jerome Corsi. And they just offered me an interview with him. Do you guys think I should do it? Because I think the last time I had him on, I destroyed him pretty good. And this is the guy that used to come on, even when I would host Alex Jones and guest host for the Alex Jones show. Just have Jerome Corsi for a while, and he was a good interview. But Corsi's the guy. They've been offering me Corsi. Should I have him on my show, the show I do live, or this show, or whatever that I'm doing? Because I already kind of put him in his place. I've met him in person. Done multiple events with him, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, like Alex Jones, everybody. Yeah, right away. You just take one look and just hang out with the guy, Jerome Corsi, for 1 second, and you just know, yeah, it's not somebody I should be working with. Hot Cheddar, his lawyer sucks. Should have hired Depp's lawyers. I love that. I know. Depp's lawyers ruled. And we all watched that trial. Like, seriously, I did. I'm not a big trial guy. I'm kind of watching the other shooting trial from Florida. That's pretty crazy. I don't really watch a lot of trials, but I did watch the Depp trial, and that's because I have connections with Johnny Depp, and we have mutual friends and stuff. I was rooting for him, but his lawyers were badass, right? Hot Cheddar, they were badass, man. But the guy, the slick Porsche driving lawyer, Alex's new lawyer, he fired his whole team after the debacle of which is 4 trials. I can't even untangle it. Some of it's like almost unprecedented, and I get why Alex Jones fans are saying, well, they just ruled he was guilty, no jury, whatever. Yeah, because he did unprecedented things. Would not turn over material. You have to turn over your material when you're in a court case. You have to do that. That was the whole thing about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Yeah, Doug Stanhope, that was my homie. Like, I have a lot of connections in the whole Johnny Depp crew or whatever, and they're good people, and they're with us, by the way. But am I rambling? I don't know, man. But yeah. But I thought the weird thing, Hot Cheddar, was, you guys can comment too. We're live right now. It's the Jack Blood Deadline live TV stream. Is that his lawyer was appointed? Have you checked my other videos out, Hot Cheddar? His lawyer was appointed as a prosecutor. That's how he got his big start. This little Porsche driving, feathered hair lawyer that's representing Alex Jones Corp right now was appointed by Eric Holder to fight the drug war while they were smuggling drugs with the drug war. I mean, this guy has more dirt on him than Alex Jones. How would you? So the irony in all this, do you get it? Is that the excuse to throw all the parents and the children in Sandy Hook under the bus because they're going to take our guns because of Eric Holder. But yet an Eric Holder appointee who's now a defense lawyer is your lawyer. Like, that's crazy, man. That hasn't dawned on anyone? Yeah, that guy looks as phony as a $2 bill. His name is Andino something or other. You just look at that guy. I looked at him. I started researching him, and I found out all this stuff about, Alex's lawyer. But when I just took one look at him, I'm like, no way. This guy? S90, he lost it because some people were calling him out for his association with CMP. Yeah, you're going back on that Jerome Corsi stuff. I know. No, all of them. I asked him, I'm like, what do you think of Dick Cheney? I love him. He's my best friend. See, and that's why I'm kind of not a Trumper and now look, well, I mean, you could say it. Now look what the Cheneys did to Trump. And now Democrats want Liz Cheney to be president. Oh, come on, man. That's how far we've come. S90 found some clips. None more filmed within the club. Yeah. But the clips say it all. I mean, they lied. They knew they lied. People warned them they lied. A bunch of people said, Kurt Nimmo, again, who was instrumental, Rob Jacobson. Like, these are people I've known for a very long time that worked at InfoWars. And all of them, Paul Joseph Watson. I've been on the air with Paul Joseph Watson for, 100 hours, just me and him. And he was, get away from Fetzer and Halbig. They're crazy. They're batshit crazy. That came out in the trial. They're batshit crazy. They warned them. And then a year or something later, they're still out pumping it. We've read the documents, subscribe, star, G. Edward Griffin is lifelong John Birch Society member. I know. And I grew up not being John Birch, but I did get to meet a lot of John Birch people, and some of them were good. Now I'm in a couple of films with G. Edward Griffin. What in the world are they spraying? Obviously, I've had him on. This is my favorite G. Edward Griffin story. I'm on Media Row at the 2004 Democrat convention to initiate John Kerry in to run against George Bush. I'm with Fox News. I'm on Media Row, right? And we're sitting there under the Fox News banner. You can see all this stuff, right? It's super funny. And then I'm interviewing G. Edward Griffin, but you can only hear my side of it. And then the little troll who's about 4'8", Wolf Blitzer, walks by and starts hearing what I'm saying and freaks out while I'm on the air with G. Edward Griffin interviewing him on Media Row at the 2004 Democratic Convention in Boston. I'm looking, and Wolf Blitzer is standing feet away from me with his arms crossed, like in a threatening manner. He can't believe what I'm saying about the Federal Reserve and everything. Hey, man, made my day. And G. Edward Griffin, by the way, long before there was a CNP or anything else, man, that guy was at it and doing some pretty good work, and no one's perfect. Hey, man, I don't agree with everything he says, but I'll always give that guy a pat on the back, even though the real Federal Reserve work, we all know who did it. That's important. Of course, you remember Skousen. The Skousen. Now you're talking about Joel Skousen, another guy, and his kid. Great guess. Super smart. But yeah, they're CMP members. That doesn't, again, throw them under the bus, but there's some other things that we talked about that I realized, were a little too mind programming, but I always liked Joel Skousen and the Skousens. Yeah, I always liked those guys. They were always a great interview. Let me go down your list here. You guys can write in. You could chat in. Yeah, I don't like Gerald Calente. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's just those guys. The shift guy. Look, those guys, the doom and gloom. And then when something bad happens, they're like, look, we told you. Every day for them is doom and gloom and buy gold. It can't be like that. That's not helpful. Gerald Calente is another person that kind of exploits the internet. I'm sorry. Like, I'd love to have him on the show. I think he's a pretty smart guy, all in all. But, I mean, look back at what he... everything is just fear porn constantly, So the Bronfmans, we read the documents, subscribe star. He mentions the Bronfmans. Okay, so this is a really deep subject because the Bronfmans are major media owners. They started in Seagrams. They were booze smugglers along with Joe Kennedy. You guys know that from Canada? The Bronfmans are kind of the Canadian Rockefellers. Their reach is just extensive, and it goes into, if you guys have Comcast, that's why I don't have Comcast. That's one of the owners. In fact, I guess the owner, one of the main owners of NBC now. World Jewish Council. I mean, they got an agenda, and so they censored me. I've been censored, right, on cable throughout Massachusetts. I was banned. This is now 20-some years ago. Did you see it coming, Jack? Yeah. And the Bronfmans were at the head of it. They're also involved with the phony Green Party in Canada. They ban free speech for a very long time. If you guys know what the rules are in Canada, hate speech is get you in jail real fast, and the Bronfmans are into that. And then you also mention the NX VIM. That's barely worth commenting on. The fact that it even got exposed and reported, that's just how the world is. And then Roger Stone. So I've done 2 hours with Roger Stone. You could probably find him on this channel. And I asked him harder questions than I think anyone else did. And one of the things I learned from him, I learned from researching him more than talking to him, is that Roger Stone, as he was coming up from high school, he was a political guy and doing elections and stuff in high school. Like, this guy's been doing this for 50, 60 years, right? And he learned this early on, is to go ahead and pick the guy you're running against. So Roger Stone admitted to me on my show that they would support Democrats so they can get the right Democrat to run against for his guy, which was usually Republican, right? So the big story just came out that, first of all, this isn't a big shock to anyone, but that the Democrats have been caught doing this, that if you're donating money to the Democratic Party, you're paying for them to promote the most fringe, Trumpy person to run against their candidate in whatever election is coming up here for the midterms. And it's just so dumb, because that's the last person you should run against. Hey, man, I don't vote, but if I did, I'm voting for that person. This is why they had to come up with the whole Russiagate thing and conspiracy theories from the Hillary Clinton camp, the Democrat Party, because they couldn't believe Donald Trump won. Well, they picked him. Look into it, man. This is why they won't let Julian Assange out of jail. They picked Trump to run against. They paid all the money. They pulled all the strings so they could run against Trump, and they lost, man. Hey, nice try. I love these questions. You guys are great. I'm going to stay on for as long as you guys ask questions. And hey, man, if you want me to keep doing this, jackblood@hotmail.com. Please donate to us. We do a live show every Thursday. It's pretty cool. I upload a lot of things, and then, like and subscribe and all the rest of it. But appreciate you guys. Paul Joseph Watson is a monarchist. You mean a minarchist or a monarchist? PJW. Now, again, I know Paul Joseph Watson really good. I worked with him a long time. He's a super smart guy and really good on the air. The guy's always really impressed with Paul Joseph Watson. But he didn't like me because he heard what Alex Jones said about me. He said, don't talk to him. He would turn everyone against each other. And that's what we're seeing in this trial, is the rats are all turning against each other and jumping off the ship, because that's how he runs his company. Trust me, I was there. Everyone knows that. Anyone that's worked with Alex Jones, I've been in the company, got a pretty good look behind the curtain, man. Above everyone, most anyone you've talked to, probably more than some of the hosts that have been working here over the years. I got a better look because I was just higher up or whatever, And he divide and conquer, man. He does that. But I like Paul Joseph Watson. I think I always will. I don't know. Is he a monarchist? Well, that would suck. What's weird is this is the show we're going to do here pretty soon. I really want to correct or discuss the cognitive dissonance that people love the founding fathers but hate the Illuminati. You realize those are the same people, right? I always ask that question. David Icke, Alex Jones, they could never answer it, and immediately a red flag went up in my head. Even then, that's cognitive dissonance, man. Loves the Queen. Well, that some of it is he lives in England, Paul Joseph Watson. Part of it is that you gotta love the Queen. It's fascist. If you don't, you can get in a lot of trouble. Eustace Mullins. Thank you, Hot Cheddar. So have you heard my interview with Eustace Mullins? Okay, so I had him on multiple times. I had one of my prized possessions. I hope I still have it somewhere in my storage, is an autographed Eustace Mullins Secrets of the Federal Reserve book. It was gold. And he went in and this is the great story. You guys should learn this. This was stuff we used to talk about back in the day. But Ezra Pound, who was a famous poet in his day, was locked up into St. Elizabeth Hospital for being crazy for talking about the Federal Reserve. And young Eustace Mullins, learning reporter, went in to talk to, because no one would do it. Can you imagine? That's what I'm saying. Like, being a journalist is so awesome because you get to go in and interview Ezra Pound at St. Elizabeth Hospital, being held against his will for talking about centralized banking. And he went, and that's how he wrote his book. Do you know that? It's a great story. And I did hours and hours with Eustace. He is the father of the Federal Reserve. You know how to fix it? I'll tell you right now. Congress coins the money, and then you have term limits for Congress. Okay, that's fixed. See how quick I did that? Yeah, and then one of the things they did, well, that's what they did with Ezra Pound, is they said he was anti-Jewish because a lot of the people that were involved in Jekyll Island and putting together the Federal Reserve were Jewish. Good cover, right? I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they said that, and it's because they're Jewish. They did it. It's just they just happened to be that. And then Eustace, of course, was put on every hit list. I know anyone that talks about the Federal Reserve is obviously anti-banking. They're obviously Jewish, right? What do I think of the Hunt family? The Hunt family. Talking about E. Howard Hunt? Yeah, I'm guessing that's it. So E. Howard Hunt confessed to killing Kennedy and being involved in the Kennedy assassination. So I interviewed his son, obviously. He wrote a big book with Roger Stone, and they hooked us all up. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing that really sticks in my mind is how they killed his mom. Was it Nixon? They false flagged a plane attack and killed everyone in the plane, but they really just wanted E. Howard Hunt's wife and what is his name? The kid's name. I interviewed him. Sorry, guys, I wasn't prepared. You guys ask questions. I'm just going to riff, but I'm giving you the gist of the question. The fact that this is a big case. They killed E. Howard Hunt's wife, and she was on the tarmac in a plane taking off from Chicago. There was like 100 and some people on the plane. They killed everybody just to kill her. I mean, that's fucked up. Hey, Russell, my man, Russell Gentili. All right, this guy is a hardcore activist, a hardcore guy from back in the day. I've hung out with him in Florida with Bob Bowman and a lot of great people. Bob Bowman, of course, was the lieutenant colonel who worked on Star Wars, who was a 9/11 truther. We lost him, Bob, years ago, but my man Russell put a big event in Florida down, and I came down and spoke at that. That was pretty cool. These guys all seem to be opportunists. Very few genuine truth tellers out there, unfortunately. There are a few, and most, if any, don't lean, quote unquote, right. I don't know. I mean, what's right or what isn't? Russ, I don't know, man. I think we're the same people we were 20 years ago. We want the same things. We see the same things. It's just more complicated now. And that's how they get us. It's super complicated. Well, if you want to prove something, you have to prove it on 18 different levels instead of one. I mean, it used to be a little easier to kind of blow them out of the water. And then subterfuge and then delays, and then it'll come out 2 years later that you were right, but then people won't care or remember, and they definitely won't come up to you and go, "Hey, you were right, what you told me." You'll never hear that. They did pick Trump. I agree. Yeah, no, they did. That was engineered by the Clintons. They picked Trump. And do you know they're cousins? Look it up. Trump and Hillary Clinton are cousins. They're related. Look it up, man. I'm sorry to have to break it to you, but, I was willing to give Trump a chance. I didn't vote in that election, by the way. I live in a area of the country where 80% was going to vote for Clinton. I could put a protest vote up. I used to write people in. I'm thinking of running for president myself in the next election, but we'll see. But so my vote wouldn't have mattered anyway, and I might have voted for Jill Stein or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like Tulsi Gabbard, I thought she was pretty cool in that election. Rand Paul, obviously, I'd take him any day. But as soon as Trump got in and he started putting in Wilbur Ross, he's a Rothschild banker and Secretary of Commerce, put Jerome Powell from the Carlyle Group in charge of the Federal Reserve. Sean Hannity's his biggest fan. It's just got Rudy Giuliani as his lawyer. It's just all that just not good for me. I don't have the ability to be Sean Hannity's friend now. I just don't. As soon as I see that, I know it's all bullshit for the most part. But I give something to every president. There's things about Obama that he did that I kind of liked. A couple of them, not too many, and most of them weren't even because he did them. Could barely even give him credit. One of those things I really liked that Obama did was he freed Cuba, and then Trump closed it back down again. Didn't like that about him. But I did, the founding fathers. So we want to do this whole deal. How many of you know that Ben Franklin was a grave robber? Worse. I mean, so Ben Franklin was in a secret society called, what was it, the Hell Club? Now I almost had it for you. You know what I'm talking about. They had dungeons and they kept slaves in the basement, tortured them, and then they found all these bones in Ben Franklin's houses, which they attributed to him being a researcher. That's what researchers used to do in those days. Dig up bones and then from graveyards, from people's sacred loved ones, and then examine them. That's the excuse. Hellfire Club. Thank you very much. The Hellfire Club. Ben Franklin was a quadruple agent. That's why I love that guy. Quadruple agent. France, England, United States, and the Illuminati. He was a quadruple agent. Hey, man, you got to roll with what you can, right? But let's just be honest about it, because I would always blow people up, David Icke and Alex Jones or whatever. I'd blow them up by asking that question. How are the founding fathers Illuminati? And so later I got to know some Illuminati people. I get it. No, like serious, hardcore, very rich and famous tech people who I'm still in touch with, but not into it. You know what? They're definitely trying to overthrow this country and create civil war. Definitely. And that's where I stepped off, because I don't want to have all the violence and stuff. And these guys, that's what they want, is a civil war in this country, and they're doing everything they can. Russell, yes, I'm beginning to believe Trump was a plan. No, he's an absolute massive psyop. Paul Watson was in on Trump and division. He's done to me. Yeah. No, I know there's a lot of bad things, Russell, about Paul Joseph Watson. I didn't like him through the Trump years, and he is going to do what's paying him. He's making about $400,000 a year minimum. He's got to protect that. And that's the problem with making that kind of money. You got to protect it. I know, right? SB 90, that signed book. Man, we're doing that. Thank you for coming in. Let me try to read it. It is Baroque Blues, man. Have ever heard of Michael Cesarian? Of course. Author and musician. Yeah, I've interviewed Michael Cesarian before. I would love to have him back. I think he's just I can't imagine why I haven't seen him on like Joe Rogan and all these shows. What is it? Lex Friedman gets like 80 million people a show. Michael Tessarian is a guy who should be on all those shows. If he'll come on my show, I'd love to have him and have discussions with him because he's super smart. And I may not, we may not agree. I hate to have to even put a disclaimer on it. Who cares if we agree? I mean, he can win me over. He's super smart. Yeah, Baroque Blues. Good job. Thank you, Hot Cheddar. Love you back, man. Nelson Bunker Hunt, H.L. Hunt, not E. Howard Hunt. Oh, you're talking about those hunts. I'm sorry. Well, you had to be more specific. You just said Hunt. I just thought of the ones I think. Yeah, I'm not sure I can comment on that right now, but I know what you're talking about. All right, guys. It doesn't seem like we're attracting like too many people over here, but it was fun to do for sure. I kept trying to upload a comment on because I know the trial is going to start again tomorrow for the Alex Jones penalty phase. I will tell you this. I talked to the last few days. I've been talking to some of the Sandy Hook parents. Did I say who already? If I did, then probably my bad. And yeah, I mean, journalism isn't just say whatever you can and get hits on your website and sell snake oil. That's not journalism. And they've been admitting this throughout the trial. They're not journalists. They won't admit to being journalists. That's fine. I just hope people know that. They've admitted this. It's like Rachel Maddow, same thing. I'm just doing entertainment. I'm not a journalist. And, you guys know that's what they all say, right? So we need to quit taking them so seriously. Please don't take me very seriously, but I'll tell you that if I give you something and I put it in the bank and you guys know that have been listening to me for the last 20, 25, 30 years, if I put something in the bank, you can take it to the bank. 100%. What's up, Nick? My homie, one of the best bass players in all the world on our broadcast right now. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. I'm going to pop out then, and we'll do this more. So get used to it. I appreciate it. I need more watch hours on my stupid YouTube so I can get monetized. I have enough subscribers and all that. So, but subscribe and like and all that. But I guess I don't have enough watch hours to get monetized. We all know how that's gonna end. But and then I have a Rumble account. We're trying to work on that. It's Jack Blood Media on Rumble. If you guys want to write that down, we'll be promoting it as we ramp it up. It's a little harder to use than YouTube, so that's never good. But I think there's a pretty good chance we could do some good stuff over there. And I know the things, if I feel uncomfortable talking about them on YouTube for, censorship, gatekeeping reasons, I'll be able to do them on Rumble. So that's good to know that we have that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. No, you guys are great. And, no message here except for stay bold. You know it. Love you guys. Bye.